Good morning, everyone. Today's Wednesday, November 10th, 2021. I hope everyone is well, and we are here for a work session. And the work session is going to immediately follow the special town board meeting. And as always, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Ken, can you please take the lead?
Yes, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ken. Before we get started, we have just one announcement today. Tomorrow, Thursday, November 11th is Veterans Day, and all town offices are closed. Tomorrow is Armistice Day, as was originally called. It began in 1919 on the first anniversary of the end of the World War I. Thereafter, Congress passed a resolution in 1926, making it an annual observance day, and in 1938, it became a national holiday. In 1954, the name was changed from Armistice Day to Veterans Day. Veterans Day pays tribute to all our veterans, those still with us and those who have perished. But unlike Memorial Day, it is especially for the living veterans who served their country honorably during war and during peacetime. On behalf of the entire town board, I want to personally thank all our veterans for their service and their commitment to keeping our country safe. We are, Ken Rothwell, you're the liaison to our Veterans Committee, and I know you've been working extensively. Did you want to add anything?
I do want to just say that proudly the Veterans Advisory Committee, along with Riverhead High School, will be adding additional names to the Veterans Wall of Honor today, which is named in our honorable veteran Garfield Langhorne. It's displayed outside the auditorium inside Riverhead High School. And so at 2:30 today, they will do the unveiling of additional names on that wall. And for anybody that's ever attended, any veteran that has ever attended Riverhead High School, we encourage you to notify us and to have your name added to that wall. And so we're going to do that on a yearly basis prior to Veterans Day each year. So
good.
it's a wonderful way to honor our veterans and thank them for their service.
So I just want to jump in and say that Veterans Wall is really beautiful. It's such a cool thing, and I have to give a shout out to Kim Judd, who is also on the Veterans Committee, and she happens to be with us here today. And also I'm very proud in my own family, my father, my brother, and my grandmother were actually all veterans. So a big thank you to all of the veterans in our town and who are listening.
Great, thank you. Okay, we're going to get right into it today because we have some guests here. The first discussion item concerns matters surrounding an inclusion task force for the disabled. I've met with the CEOs of RISE and the East End Disabilities, and at one time the disabled were represented here in Town Hall through an advisory committee. I'm not too sure what happens, but we're going to start fresh with one. And joining us today for this discussion, we have Bob Kearns, we have Maureen Berrios, we have Charles Evos, and Lisa Fortel. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. And before I call them up to say a few words or share their thoughts, I spoke with Councilman Hubbard yesterday, who was away this week, and he asked him to be the liaison to the advisory committee, and he has accepted. And if you're watching, Tim, thank you in that regard. And he also wanted to convey the following: the town needs a committee to discuss problems faced by our residents with physical disabilities. We need residents with disabilities to come forward to assist us to make Riverhead as accessible as it can be. With that, I'm going to ask Mr. Evos to please come forward, followed by Lisa, please.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Mr. Evos.
Good morning, sir.
I'm Executive Director of RISE Life Services. I've been doing this probably for 50 years with various agencies. I have a passion for special needs, developmentally disabled, autistic, veterans, and you name it, I'm there to support them as best as I can. And so is my agency. And I look forward to working together with the team, and hopefully we can set things, in the right direction and get things going where they need to be.
Great. And thank you for agreeing to be on the advisory committee.
Thank you.
And Lisa and Maureen, I don't know if you wanted to say something? You okay?
Good morning.
Good
I am so
morning, Ms.
excited
Patel.
that this task force is going to be coming back to life in Riverhead. We've been here, East End Disability, since 1996, and we like to think about inclusion for everyone. So people with physical disabilities, people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, children, adults, everybody that's in our community. I also like to think about the fact that it's not just to address problems, but to really celebrate the contributions that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and physical disabilities can provide in our community. So I am very excited to be here. I've talked to many of our folks that are interested in being part of this task force and want to make their own contributions. So thank you all for recognizing that this is an essential committee for the town of Riverhead.
And-
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you for participating in this, and I really look forward to the recommendations that come from this, because I think that there's so many things that can be done in this town to make it accessible and inclusive for everybody. Thank you.
And I want to take time to thank you guys for your work. I'm familiar with your organizations. In fact, I did recently tour RISE facility in town, and a really cool facility up on South Shore Road. But thank you for the work that you do, and I think this is really a great idea, and it will help us better integrate people with disabilities into our community.
And Lisa and Mr. Evos, we did have some funding for you guys. You might want to apply, check with Dawn Thomas. We have said, I know that you, COVID really put a hamper on some of your budgets, and you had to take extra precautions, and some of your employees had to stay 24 hours a day because they couldn't leave due to the possible contamination of some of your members that you have, and so there is funding that has been put aside for you, and I suggest that you contact the CDA director and apply for that funding for the disabled. And I'm very happy, and I thank you for agreeing to be part of this task force.
Supervisor, if I can just add, I think it's absolutely amazing the work that you do, but I hope just not only advocating, just for people with disabilities, but I also hope and want to learn more about the staffing and to advocate for the healthcare workers and so forth. And I know that sometimes they struggle with getting better benefits with the state of New York. And so I'd hope to hear more about that and to let, on a town-wide basis or a local level, what we can do to support you to make sure that you achieve all those endeavors that we had talked about early on this year. So not just for the people you're serving, but as well as the healthcare workers themselves. So please, and thank you so much for everything you do.
And that's a great point. They just recently had a conference because they're underfunded. And I think that this committee would also serve as an advocacy, whether they have to go to Albany to advocate on behalf of the town. So I think there's a lot of potential here, and again, I want to thank you. Thank you so much.
Schedule the
Okay.
first meeting?
Yeah, we're going to schedule the first meeting. It's in the work. And Maureen Burials, I know that you've been an advocate in this regard. I personally know you, and I know that you're great, you're relentless, you're professional in your advocacy, and I want to personally thank you also for joining this task force. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our next discussion item. It's an update on the Riverhead Charter School. And if you guys need to leave, you're more than welcome. It's common, that's why we called it first. So, good morning, Greg.
So this is just an update on the Riverhead Charter School's special permit application to convert an existing two-story building into a schoolhouse at 5117 Sound Avenue. Last month, the town board initiated secret coordination. We've completed the 30-day coordinated review period. The application was referred to the planning department pursuant to town code. The planning department just had some concerns with outdoor play space, lighting on the property. The applicant has submitted revised plans and drawings that have addressed those concerns. So the next step procedurally in the application would be to complete the seeker process. I have prepared a resolution to assume lead agency and issue a negative declaration, and then schedule a public hearing for the special permit application.
Yeah, I think this is a great reuse of a existing building, and I think it's a great idea. I'm certainly still in support of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, this one's pretty quick and easy, so unless the board has any other concerns, like I said, those resolutions are prepared in the packets for you. I believe the public hearing will be the first meeting in December.
Okay, and I have spoken to the president of the school. He's very excited. There is a need for this type of school here in the community, and again, to ditto the councilman in Bayrod, it's a great use, and it's an appropriate use. I think it was a school at one time, correct?
Was a school, yeah, I mean, I did speak with Richard Wines, going back to, he said his mother went to school there back in the
Okay.
30s, so it had been a school, I believe, at least on 2 different occasions, and it's appropriate to bring it back to a school.
Already the work that's been done on the property, you know, the renovation and so forth, it already looks beautiful. And it caught my eye a few months ago, just driving by, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow, it's just like to see the building restored. So 100%, 100 support behind it. I think it's a great project.
And just, I'm remiss, the one other concern that I had raised in the staff report when it was reviewed by the town board was the issue of bus queuing. The applicant did provide a plan that demonstrates they can safely queue 7 buses on site, so it's not anticipated to have any negative impacts on the Sound Avenue corridor. They are only proposing enrollment of approximately 106 students, I believe, which can be adequately serviced by 7 buses, so no issues on this one.
When do they anticipate opening? Do you know?
That's a question I would.
Oh, yeah, come on up, Kim. How are you? Good morning.
Morning for the applicant. As soon as, after we're done doing the special permit process with this, where we have to go to the planning board to do site plan, so as soon as we can finish our site plan process and draw our permits, they'll open it up.
Yeah, and you also need state approval.
No, they don't, because they're
they-
a charter school. So if it was a public
Oh,
school like
okay.
Riverhead High School, as you see, when the school district comes in, when they do their expansions, they don't have to come before you because they go to New York State.
Right.
But because they're a charter school, New York State education law treats it differently, which is why we're before you. And the school on Middle Road, they had to come before the planning board to get site plan approval on that.
Oh, okay, thank you,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, any comments further?
It's great.
Great, okay. So, thank you, Greg, and our next discussion is to, moving forward, it concerns matters surrounding the 2022
So I
budget.
think
think you
Supervisor
skipped
just have to
the
go to the other
driving.
planning matter. So we
Oh,
spoke
Greg
about
has
the
2 of them
first
today?
Yeah, they're just
Okay.
a
Driving restaurant.
yeah, quick
Okay.
update on the
Got it.
proposed drive-in restaurant on 58.
Okay,
Last year, the town board classified a special permit and site plan application as a type 1 action. The applicant is proposing a drive-in restaurant. In previous iterations and the lifespan of this project, they were proposing a Sonic. As of, I understand in the application right now, they do not have the Sonic tenant secured, but they want to move the application along in the hopes to try to lure them back. So there is a site plan and a special permit application proposing, right now, the building has been reduced. It's a 2,238 square foot drive-in restaurant with 20 indoor seats, 54 outdoor seats. Plans have been revised to remove the need for any variances. They previously needed variances for side yard setbacks, as well as for the proposed canopies. The applicant had prepared a traffic impact statement. This was prepared by a licensed professional engineer dated June of 2020. That traffic impact statement proposed that the action would only result in slightly increased delays at the intersection of Old Country Road and Osborne Avenue, but would not degrade the levels of service at the intersection. So in terms of just procedures, again, the application, I do have a resolution to assume lead agency and issue a negative declaration, as well as schedule a public hearing on the application to move it forward.
Good. It's great that they adopted, you know, to conform in a more heightened fashion.
Now, I mean, as the project moves forward, and this project has been around, I believe, since around 2015 or 2016. It's kind of come and gone, it's ebb and flow a little bit. One of the concerns from the planning board, and I believe prior town boards, was the potential for, congestion when the location first opens. It is located in close proximity to the Riverhead Ambulance Barn, located just to the north on Osborne Avenue. One of the concerns that was raised by the planning board was just during the initial opening of this site, that if there's any need for police traffic control, that the applicant, the property owner would be responsible for providing that to ensure a safe operation, that the Riverhead Ambulance Barn was not blocked in case they need to get out to respond to an emergency. But that was really it. And I mean, that's something that as the project moves forward, the town board can impose conditions on the special permit to make sure that that's captured.
So what do you mean by the initial opening?
So other restaurants, Sonic restaurants on Long Island, when they've opened, there's kind of an eagerness period where people are, it gets very busy when they first open. The first one that opened, I believe, was on Deer Park Avenue in Deer Park. They experienced significantly long lines. There was congestion down Deer Park Avenue. Since then, however, there have been several other locations that have opened on Long Island. I know there's one in Lake Grove. I believe they either just opened one in Shirley or it's anticipated to open very soon. So I think kind of that novelty period may have worn off a little bit.
I know the same phenomenon occurred with some of the Chick-fil-A's around the
Yeah.
island where everybody stormed them in the first month or two.
Yeah. So, the Shirley location, I mean, it is farther east than any of the other previous locations. Again, I don't know. I believe maybe the applicant could speak to if that location is open and what kind of traffic congestion they've experienced. But it would be anticipated that it would be a temporary surge at the beginning and would sort of level out.
Well, they're gonna absorb any costs related
Yeah.
to it, if it does
Yeah, and
happen.
again, that would be a condition that the town board, in granting
Absolutely.
this special permit, could impose a condition to require that.
Perfect.
So you're only anticipating issues during that busy opening period?
Correct. I mean, the site, they did revise some of the internal traffic circulation. They have submitted a plan. I believe they show the ability to queue, I believe it's in the neighborhood of 26 to 28 cars in their traffic queuing lane. So, I mean, if this place is, if they're having more than 28 cars, again, that would be an issue that would require, a traffic control officer, which would be, provided by the applicant, so.
I remember as a kid standing on White Castle's line for 4 hours waiting for opening day.
You still go there?
I do.
I
Guilty.
I have to admit that once in a while, there's that craving.
But I think we
It
had
is a
this
guilty
with,
pleasure.
yes.
Yeah, it is.
But I think we had this with like Popeye's Chicken when it opened up. It was backing up a little bit. And I mean, that's popular. But now you can, lunchtime, you can get right online and in and out. So I think, like you say, it's just initial, everybody's got to try it. So,
I think you're good, right?
All right,
yeah, I'm good with the
Okay.
project.
all right.
Great.
Thank you.
Everyone? Thank you, Greg. Okay, we're gonna move on to our last discussion item, which is a matter surrounding, not a matter, it's actually was a request by Councilwoman Pent to discuss the 2022 budget, and we have Bill Walther, who is our financial administrator, so I'm gonna, in a moment, ask him to come forward, and I just want to inform the public that I am the Chief Financial Officer for the town with extensive experience in million-dollar budgets, and I have put together a budget that we have not seen in over 20 years with no tax increase and a small decrease. It is a solid budget. There was a tremendous amount of work that went into the budget. My responsibility as the Chief Financial Officer is to present the budget to the clerk, who then presents it to the town board. This is not a discussion necessarily as to personal likes and who wants what. I did, however, I have met with every town board member, including Mr. Hubbard, and we have discussed the budget. And I have also requested from Catherine Kent on very numerous occasions to meet with me. But she wants it on work session, so it's up, and Catherine, take the lead.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I feel as though these discussions should be with the public because it's the public's money. So I just want to clarify a few things in the budget, just want to check on a few items. One of the discussions we had was with the upkeep of the EPCAL trail. So I'm wondering which item, where is that line item in the budget?
Okay, so we're gonna ask Mr. Rothar, come up, say a few words on the budget, do a summary, and answer any questions the councilwoman wants to ask.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bill. How are you?
We can do this one, I'm good, thank you, how are you? We can do this one of two ways. If you want to give me a list of them and I can answer them, if they're ones you want me to answer as you ask them, we can do it that way. You tell me how you want me to go about this.
I think I would rather do it as we go.
Okay.
But you already did give us an overview one
Right.
day of the budget.
Okay, so the answer to that question is nothing in the operating budget for the trail. That is actually up at EPCAL, which is in a separate fund. So if we need to make any improvements there, we would take it out of that fund. And that's where we're actually leasing the runway for the vehicles, so we have revenue in that fund. So if something comes up that needs to be done, that would be the appropriate fund to take that repair out of.
So another issue that has come up has been leaf removal. Looking to see if that was put into the budget anywhere.
That's in the budget. It's in the highway budget. So the highway superintendent has been doing that going back 30, 40 years. Been in the budget every year. It's included in his employees, in the equipment that he has, and supplies that he has for that. So that has been intact. We did not cut any employees. We didn't take any equipment out of his highway yard. So he has all the equipment, all the employees, all the resources he needs to pick up those leaves.
Well, I don't think he planned to have that in his budget, but there will be a new highway superintendent, so we'll see if he wants that in his budget. But I didn't see it I didn't see it anywhere in the general budget.
It's two separate budgets, right, Bill, to clarify? Even for myself, it's two separate budgets, and the leaf pickup is in the highway department budget,
Yes.
which is not part of this budget, right?
Right.
It's not part of the general fund budget. So the budget that you have in front of you, the three main funds are highway, street lighting, and the general fund. And by that, I mean they go to every taxpayer. So some of the other funds, not everybody's part of a sewer district and so forth. Those are the three main funds we're talking about. One main fund being the highway fund goes to all residents, and that's the fund that's been responsible for picking up loose leaves for the last 30 or so years.
You have a proposed budget for the highway for 2022?
Yes,
And the leaf pickup is in there?
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Well, the cost of the leaf pickup has grown over the years because the population has grown. And I bring it up because I know the highway superintendent asked to cease this practice. And so I was wondering if it was going to be moved into the general budget. Moving on, I have also asked about placing code enforcement under the jurisdiction of PD and allowing 24-hour coverage as determined appropriate by the PD.
Okay, so that's not addressed in the budget itself. That would be a movement of the board to do in advance.
Yeah, and
We
as
can
the-
simply they're both in the general fund. It would just be a matter of assigning the chief that cost center also.
Right, and that's something as police commissioner, I have spoken to him about it, and Catherine, and I know you were aware of it. There is a possibility of that happening, but that's not a budgetary thing because the employees stay there. It's just a matter of shifting, so that's really an administrative
That's correct.
issue.
Well, I bring it up because I would think it would be a budget item if we end up having more coverage. So moving on, we have had a discussion about the body cams. I saw the line in the budget for 100,000. We have 100,000 coming from the American Red Rescue Fund, I know. But does that cover all potential costs?
That covers what was originally requested for next year. So I don't know how far, how many years he's gonna purchase all the cams he needs. I don't know if that is all the cams, but he requested 100,000 in the operating budget, and we're taking it out of those funds.
We actually assigned them
Yeah.
that amount, and Catherine, the body cam is a concern and something that we want to do, and we haven't even purchased them. They are in the middle of researching. It's going to take about 6 months. There are different organizations and various entities that you can purchase, downloading equipment. There's a huge expense, and that's all going to be assessed. We need the money to know that we have it, and we're going to start doing the research.
Well, that's my question. Certainly, I know that we are in favor of body cams, and the police department is also in favor of the body cams. I think it helps everybody all around. I know that we had a discussion about the purchase of them, but there is a large cost in implementing it. So I was looking to see if there was a budget item for the implementation of the cameras.
We don't know where we stand. We're going to get the money, and then we're going to research it, and then we're going to go through the process. And next year, we have to budget, we're going to budget. It's just a seed right now. You need the money so we can move forward, research it, speak to the chief. I know they are conducting, at the moment, they are conducting research and speaking to other police departments. It's not something that it's a budgetary issue right now. They got the money to start the process, and it's going to take some time to get to that. And as we move forward with the body cams, we'll adjust our budget accordingly. This is the 2022 budget. They're going to start the process, and then we'll take it in next year, in August.
And one of the benefits of not having it in the operating budget, it happens to benefit in this case, is that it is not a circular budget that closes at the end of the year. So in theory, if cameras were available tomorrow, we can purchase them before the beginning of the year. And if it takes longer than 2022 to purchase them all, because of shipping or delivery at this point, with supplies, we can hold that open past 2022. It just happens to benefit us that we're taking it from there also.
So you're saying that the money's in the budget to purchase them, but a decision's going to be made, the money's not in the budget to get them set up and feeding in?
No, what I'm saying is the budget is not in our operating budget. That's a yearly budget that runs from January to December, okay? $100,000 was allocated, and that money does not tie into our operating budget. So we can purchase it sooner if necessary, and it can go further than the end of the year if we don't have all the cameras we need, but still have monies left over.
And I have discussed before that the equipment line in the police budget was cut. I know that the police chief had requested $526,900, and that budget is $106,900. So I'm assuming that some of the items the chief requested were cut.
That's correct.
Which items were cut?
So there were vehicles that were cut. There were some other pieces of equipment that were cut. And what we did is we gave the chief $360,000, $365,000 out of other funds, like the Community Benefit Fund and American Rescue Plan, to purchase those items. Similar to what we just spoke about, where we can start purchasing them earlier and later. The vehicles actually came from this year's budget. We had unexpected revenues, and we are purchasing police vehicles, a couple of vehicles for townwide vehicles, for pool vehicles and so forth, out of this year's budget that were requested in 2022's budget. So if you add that $365,000, that brings the $100,000 closer to what he asked for. And as we do in every department in every year, they have a wish list of what they're looking for, and sometimes we can afford everything depending on what it is, and sometimes we can't. So we've given them close to the $500,000 or so that he asked for. I think we just took one car away. We did not have enough to give him for the 4. We gave him the 3 that he had asked for. So, and he was
So you're
fine.
saying that, well, I know that that department usually replaces 3 vehicles per year. So you're saying that there was extra money that was used, so not only are we replacing. Last year, he got 3 vehicles, but this year he'll also be getting 3 vehicles.
Yes, we will issue purchase orders. There's a little problem with that, and it's more of the supply and demand, where we may issue a purchase order this year, but not get anything delivered because we don't have cars available. But we'll do a purchase order, so as they come in to the dealer, we will get the cars. But he does have an additional 3 cars that we will be ordering with this year's funds for what he needed next year.
Okay, and what happens with that extra vehicle that was in an accident?
That's where the chief, he always has backup, so there's always at least 1 or 2 vehicles that are sitting at the municipal garage for that purpose. And then he manages, when he orders the new vehicles, to make sure that he has a steady flow of vehicles coming in to either replace ones that are there, or in this case, replace one that was totaled. So he has to manage that. Unfortunately, like everything else, we have a little bit of a backlog. That's why we want to order these again this year, not even wait for next year. As soon as those vehicles are available, we're going to order them.
Okay. Is the money budgeted for the ambulance enough to keep up with cost of living changes?
We sat down with the ambulance corps 2 weeks ago now. They gave us a minimum amount of an increase that they needed, and we've agreed on that amount, and we will find them that amount. There's $50,000 more above and beyond what we gave them. Now, don't forget, we gave them $50,000 for an off-road vehicle. We gave them another $70,000 for training. That's above and beyond the operating budget. And then we need to find $50,000 in next year's budget to do that, and I believe we can find that within additional revenues that are coming in.
That came from community benefit money.
Yes,
Yes, 120 came from community
So
benefits,
that's
that's correct.
above and beyond.
Yes.
And the police department, there was no cuts in the police department. This year's budget has an increase of $1.2 million, from what I understand, in total,
in
with
total,
all the
yes.
benefits. So we are working with our police department, and we have a great police department, and we're gonna make sure that they have the services. And I just want to note that last week we swore in 2 officers, or actually we promoted 2 officers. Week before that, we swore in 3 other officers, for a total of 19 officers in 1 year, the first in 4 decades. So we are working with our department, we are enhancing them, and we're going to continue to do so.
And I'm always glad to have the department enhanced. Just back to the ambulance, have they asked to renew the contract?
We are in the middle of doing that right now. Our attorneys are working it out. There's a couple of changes that we both agree on, both sides agree on need to be made, and I'm not sure exactly where we stand at this point, but we're hopeful that that will happen soon.
And those are all my questions that I have, if others have questions. Thank you, Mr. Rothar.
I think it's a very good budget. I spoke to Mr. Hubbard yesterday, because he's not here, and he says he supports it, and he feels it's one of the best budgets that he's seen. I don't know if you want to add?
No, I think I had met with Bill, and we spoke about some of the commitments and promises that we've done to employees over the past year, and it seems that that money is allocated one way or another in the budget, and that they'll be taken care of, so we keep our promises that we made over the past year. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I spoke to Bill as well. We sat down probably for an hour, talked on the phone for an hour, and that was one of my prime concerns too. We have one of the greatest employment staffs here around the island, and they work really hard for this community, and they need to be compensated for their hard work. So, but that was really one of the only things. Otherwise, I really think it was a great budget, and it came in under what you had anticipated. So I think it's a really top-notch job by both the financial administrator and the supervisor and her staff.
And I'm going to agree with Mr. Bayrat that we have an amazing staff in Riverhead. We have a lot of really great workers that I'm very proud of, including Mr. Rothar, who has always made himself accessible for any of our questions. Thank you.
Yes. So we're going to move forward, and we're going to put up the resolution to be voted on for next week. And Tim will be with us. Okay. This concludes our discussion items. And Diane, can you please, or Devin, actually, is Devin going to please read the resolutions?
is everybody ready?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Resolution number 1, appoints a part-time driver messenger. Resolution number 2, accepts the resignation of the chairman of the planning board.
And I know we'll talk about this more at length, but it is a loss because Mr. Carey has done a great job.
Resolution number 3, EPCAL Sewer Improvement, MGVC LLC, number 20017, capital project budget adjustment. Resolution number 4, approve special event Chapter 255 application for East End Arts 26th Annual Mosaic Street Painting Festival, May 29th, 2022. Number 5, approves special event Chapter 255 application for Riverhead Rotary Garden Festival, May 3rd through May 9th, 2022. Number 6, assesses cost of labor and materials for previously authorized remedial actions at premises known as 17 Wilson Avenue, Riverhead, New York 11901, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 0600-106-1-1. Number 7, Villas at Roanoke, capital water project number 82123, budget adoption. Number 8, rehabilitation of Route 58, elevated storage tank, budget adoption. Number 9, approves expenditure of trust and agency account funds and community benefit funds for Riverhead CAP. Number 10, ratifies the appointment of a town budget officer. Number 11, appoints acting chairperson of the planning board of the town of Riverhead. Number 12, authorizes the supervisor to execute an agreement with the County of Suffolk Office for the Aging AAA Transportation Program, Nunc-Pro-Tunc. Number 13, authorizes the donation of portrait of Justice Allen Smith.
And I think that's very cool that we're getting the portrait donated from the Smith family, and I look forward to seeing that displayed somewhere in the future.
Absolutely.
It's going to be great.
Resolution number 14, ratifies the acceptance of the resignation of secretary to the office of the supervisor. Number 15, releases maintenance security of Riverhead Sound Associates LLC in connection with the subdivision entitled Aquabog Golf Resorts, Highlands at Aquabog. Number 16, appoints a provisional planner. Number 17, accepts the resignation of an automotive mechanic 3. Number 18, accepts the retirement of a custodial worker 1. Number 19, amends resolution number 2021-542, approving a leave of absence request. Number 20, authorizes the supervisor to execute a retainer agreement with Lane M. Bubka Esquire of Bubka Law Group for legal services for the Riverhead Youth Court 2021-2022 year. Number 21, authorizes supervisor to execute agreement with SUSA Soccer Training LLC for training and referee services for Town of Riverhead Police Athletic League Girls and Boys Soccer Program for 2021 calendar year. Number 22, authorizes town clerk to publish and post bid for census water meter and accessory equipment or reasonable equivalent and repair to meter reading equipment. Number 23, authorizes town clerk to publish and post bid for water service materials. Number 24, appoints a part-time court officer. Number 25, authorizes extension of time to remit real property taxes for senior citizens receiving enhanced star pursuant to Section 425 or Section 467 of New York State Real Property Tax, RPTI, I don't know what the I is. 26, authorizes sewer district employees to attend seminar. 27, secret determination for Riverhead Water elevated storage tank. Number 28, secret determination for Riverhead Water District emerging contaminants distribution project. And number 29, secret determination for Riverhead Water District emerging contaminants distribution project. And then we have just one.
Can someone just explain, I think these last few ones about the secret determination for the tanks and projects that are going in?
Yeah, I think we need Dawn for that, so I can run and get her.
I think Dawn wrote them.
Yep. Thanks, Bill. And while we're waiting on Dawn, we can talk just about the one CDA resolution that you have before you for Tuesday.
Yes.
And that is authorizes the chairman to execute airport registration and security plan under New York Anti-Terrorism Preparedness Plan. That is apparently a, maybe Anne Marie can speak on it because Bob has just stepped out, but that's apparently a routine thing that we've done before that we need to re-up.
Is Bob here? Oh, Anne Marie?
Okay, maybe
You're
we'll get
gonna-
Bob, maybe that's better choice. Hi, Dawn. So the board
Hi.
just had a couple questions on those 3 resolutions. I have them here.
Hi, Dawn, I just asked what they're about. I looked at them last night. Just wondered if you could explain them a little.
Sure, so we have, we are applying, I think, as we've discussed in the past, multiple Water Infrastructure Improvement Act grants, WIA grants, we call them. So we've been working closely with H2M to complete the application and all the supporting materials. So the supporting materials include the secret determinations for the projects. So the projects are our emerging contaminant project, which is to get public water service to people who are experiencing contamination with PFAS, PFOA in Manorville, Calverton, and around Deep Hole Road. And then the other project is to rehabilitate the water tank on 58, the elevated tank. So those secret resolutions are part, and we did one of these secret resolutions
There
as
was
the
one on the
last.
plat, there were 2, I thought, 2
There should be 3.
Yeah, there's 3,
Yeah.
there's 3
Two
resolutions.
are for emerging contaminants. One emerging contaminant seeker we did last week, because there's multiple projects we're including in one grant, so the seeker's been separate on those. And then the water tank is a separate one as well. So those grant applications will be going in on the 22nd. But since we have one other meeting and I'm leaving today on vacation, hence my inappropriate outfit, I wanted to get them in ASAP, so.
So these are things that need to go along with the grant?
Correct. There's
Okay.
smart growth forms, there's engineering reports, there's a whole bunch of other things, including an application form. But we've been working on this kind of on a rolling basis, so as we're getting them done, we're bringing them to you.
All right, thank you, Dawn.
You're welcome.
Is there a question on the airport security clearance?
Somebody just said it was a routine thing?
It's,
It was
this is something that's
deputy
required by New
town
York State
attorney,
law, and I think this is
town
either the
supervisor.
4th or 5th one that we've done. It's renewable every 3 years.
Yeah, it's a SOP.
Yes. Any other questions on that one? Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Bob.
So that's it, just the one CDA resolution, and we're all finished on the town board resolutions.
Okay. Thank you, Devin. In a moment, I'm going to ask for a motion to enter into executive session to discuss the following: matters related to the American Breeders Associates, Inc., DBA, doing business as Sportsman's Kennel versus Town of Riverhead, index number 620771/2021, and that will be with Kosakevich. Can I please have a first and a second to go into a work session, and we're going to do executive thereafter?
Into a special town board.
Into a meeting.
special, so they're gonna close the town.
Okay, so we're going to close it, and then we're going to reopen it fresh.
Yeah.
Perfect, that's a lot easier, thank you for, can I have a first and a second to close the work session, please?
So moved?
Second?
Good, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So move. We should be back in 5 minutes, we're going to start the special board meeting in about 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you, everyone, and please be safe.